audience tonight, Mr. Singler, allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Councilman Kern, please give us a prayer.
As we begin our meeting, the most holy of celebrations of faith will be celebrated by our Christian and Jewish friends. We remember the words of Alex de Tocqueville, who marveled at the promise of America. He wrote, "While religion in America takes no direct part in government, it must be regarded as the first of their political institutions. Whereas in some countries, the spirit of religion and the spirit of freedom march in opposite directions, in America, I found them ultimately united. During this holy season, let us remember our respective faiths that have formed and directed us. May we continue with God's guidance to help the people of our city to ensure their prosperity and safety with a lean budget and minimal taxation. Seek also the protection of those in the service of our country. We remember especially those men and women who have paid the highest price for protecting our way of life. In your providence, Lord, we pray. Amen. Amen.
Curry. Here. Haddad. Here. Knapp. Here. Levy. Present. Seabury. Here. Stanley. Here. Taylor. Here. Cola. Here. Negashuk. Present. Darcy. Here. Ellis. Here. Cabo. Present. Sadi. Present. Viscani. Present. Wetmore. Present. Nero. Here. Perkins. Present. Shanice. Present. Botello. Here. Casafava. Here. Ty Schultz. Present.
There being 21 present and 0 absent this evening. The first 30 minutes of each city council meeting are reserved for public speaking. We'd ask any member of the public that wishes to address the council this evening, please do so about an item that is specifically on the agenda. And due to the expected long nature of the meeting, we'd ask that you keep your comments direct and to the point. So with that, is there any member of the public that wishes to address the council this evening? Any member of the public that wishes to start this as well?
First, I wanted to address number 16, the phosphorus in the wastewater treatment plant. I think what the mayor is trying to do is absolutely excellent. I've sat in on a lot of other meetings, and the water treatment plant is brought up there frequently. And I really do think that it's going to be very expensive if we don't go through with whatever delays the mayor is trying to put on, and I appreciate it. As a resident with every bill going up and up and up, and my Social Security is not. I really appreciate what you're doing. And I also want to thank you all for all the work you're going to do in the next month or so on the budgets and all of Mr. St. Hilaire and Mr. Mayor have already done. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Mr. Planza, could you just check to see if, or see if that, can you see if that light is on? Okay, any other member of Mr. Bowman?
Good evening, everyone. Item 16, most of you know, I'm sorry, Dave Bowman, 18 James Street, Danbury. Thanks. Most of you know here that I'm actually producing a documentary on the Still River. It's been about 2 years deep into this, no pun intended. So item 16, a couple questions, and I guess maybe they'll be addressed later on when we go over this. Number one, is the current phosphorus discharge safe enough? What are the parts per million or the parts per gallon allowable discharges? Is the new mandate consent order more stringent and more safe? What are the numbers for the current allowable discharges? What are the health effects to the public at large in the watershed if the new mandate isn't followed by the city? How much will it cost the taxpayer down the river to hire a government relations specialist / lobbyist? And what's the difference in cost between compliance and a lobbyist? And Veolia is a multinational hired by the city to run the wastewater treatment plant. Their 2001 profits fell 8.4% last year. So I'm wondering if this will cause them to not want to invest in our infrastructure in our local watershed. There are already 2 Senate bills right now that are out of committee in Hartford. There's Senate Bill 254, which reduces the effect that phosphate runoff has on states' bodies of water by restricting the application of fertilizers that contain phosphorus. Senate Bill 440, authorizing amounts in the Clean Water Fund to be used for phosphorus removal. And those are both out of committee and public hearings, and they are on file in the Legislative Commissioner's office. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Any other member of the public wish to address the council this evening? Mr. Sotero.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. My name is Charlie Sotero. I'm a property owner in the city of Danbury, Assessor's Lot I, 61230. I rise tonight to discuss agenda items 4, 26, and department reports. Under the police department report, calls for service this month are down 5%, which is 372 calls compared to the same period last year. Items 4 and 26 deal with water usage and water charges. With item 26 as a proposed water meter ordinance change, throughout the brief report, the theme of accuracy in measuring water usage is paramount. I agree with that, and I'm sure everyone in this room agrees with it. What we use, we should pay for, and pay for reasonably and responsibly. I find it a bit ironic, though, that over a period of a few months, I've been bringing to the attention of the council that there are critical fire hydrants out of service in the high-hazard area. Namely, Wildman and Chestnut Streets, where 2 or more fire hydrants in a row are out of service. Water has been free-flowing from the ground in one of these for a period of months. In fact, now it's clearly visible with the snow gone. I'm just wondering, if we're so concerned about wasteful practices and wasting water, who's paying for the water that's flowing out of the ground for the past few months or more? I don't understand it. I mentioned it to the fire department through this meeting, and no action's been taken. So I just wonder, can we charge back that usage to the city? Thank you.
Any other members of the public wish to address the council this evening? Governor.
Chairs on and Guthrie, 89 Ambrose. A number of things. Number 3, sewer rates. I brought this up a couple meetings ago when we were discussing the meters for the water usage on houses. What I had brought up at the time was the idea that those of us, myself and some of my neighbors who do not have city water, pay a higher rate for our sewer than those who have city water and city sewer. What my understanding was is that water in, water out, that's how your bill is generated. I never really thought about it too much until we had a water issue on my street. Talked to a neighbor of mine who has both services and found out that he's been paying quite a bit less over the years than I have. And I do not use, or the neighbors on my road use, the city water. I find it a little disheartening that we only use part of the city services. We don't use the water, we don't use that comes in, but yet we pay a higher rate, almost like a penalty for not using the city water. It's almost beneficial to hook up to the city water to get the lower sewer rate. So I wish that you would take a look at that and maybe find out how those rates are generated. Number 10, the blight ordinance. After reading it, it's quite a long read. I find the majority of it is very helpful. I feel that Sean with the unit has been very proactive in his work. he has done a great job, and he is a great person to work with, being on both sides of his pencil, so to speak. But I fear that we're getting a little too bullseye to where if we don't have somebody who is as understanding and willing to work with people as Sean has been in the past, we may have problems. I mean, it even gets down to the height of your grass. Though these areas, these things need to be taken care of, there are a lot of liberties and a lot of things that when we talk about having less government, this is actually more government. A similar thing was passed in Seymour, Connecticut a number of years ago, and they had a big problem to where half the town showed up and the white officer was subsequently overstepping his boundaries as to the law or taking the law to the letter, where they really stepped on a lot of constitutional rights. So I urge you to take a good look at that. I mean, Sean has been a great person. He has done a wonderful job with his position. And if we are going to go after blight, I would like to see something maybe done at Kennedy. You know, that nice 30, 40 foot pile of rubble and debris that we have sitting down there, that maybe we could do something with that. And then lastly, I'm not sure where this falls in, maybe it's reports with the police. I'd like to maybe urge the police department to get back into a practice they used to practice on Payden Road, which was running radar. Living on that road, it is a cross through between two thoroughfares, between 37 and 39. Sometimes going out to get your mail is quite a challenge. Yesterday, test driving a friend of mine's classic car almost led into a real fatal accident. And after being on the side of the road for a number of hours trying to rectify the situation and trying not to get run over, it really expressed the need that we need to go back and enforce the traffic speeds of that road. I mean, the road is posted at 25, and you'd be lucky if they do on 45. Thank you for your time.
Any other members of the public wish to address the council this evening? Seeing none, then we'll move on with our regular meeting. We're going to move a few things around with the indulgence of the council. First, I just want to give out their new announcements for society, Mr. Carroll. We'll do the appointments for Sergeant and for our police department first, so those folks can go celebrate. We've been saying this in a budget presentation. But before I do that, I just want to go through our regular announcements, if that's okay with the council. And I want to start with something that I think is a pretty big deal, and that is one of our staff members, one of our department heads, achieves a very high honor, a high rank. We want to recognize them and thank them for going above and beyond the call of being a staff member and being an integral part of the team. So today I just want to publicly thank and honor our Fire Chief, Jeff Harrell, who has been fully credentialed by the Commission on Professional Credentialing. On January 10, 2012, he carries the designation of Chief Fire Officer. This takes a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of dedication to his craft. So, Chief, why don't you come down and accept your... Chief says he wasn't sure how I was going to do this, but you know, he wore that bow tie. You know, he had some inside information there. There are a number of events going on in the month of April. I just want to point them out to you. April 12th is Andrew Wetmore's birthday. Andrew, congratulations. April 25th is Mr. Levy's birthday. April 29th is Mr. and Mrs. Fred Visconti's wedding anniversary. And there's a whole bunch of other events I just want to point out to you. April 7th is our annual police and fire hockey charity game at the Danbury Ice Arena. Starts at 4 p.m., costs us $10 per person. I think we have some new police recruits in here tonight that have been appointed. I hope you can play hockey. Police need help. But we'll see what happens. I'm feeling good about Saturday, about the 7th and the police's chances this year. We also have some other events I just want to mention to you. Western Connecticut Health Networks has a RX for Fashion show at Western Connecticut State University's O'Neill Center. That's at 6:30 p.m. There is April 15th, there's a cut-a-thon for Mackenzie Newsom at Escape the Salons at Greenwood Avenue. Mackenzie is the daughter of one of our city employees who is sick but is doing really well. So any help that we can give him to help her get back on her feet would be greatly appreciated by the family. We also have an art show, a new one that will be beginning on April 18th here on the 3rd floor of City Hall. I encourage you to do that. On the 19th is the Danbury Exchange Club's Officer of the Year dinner at Anthony's Lake Club. It's always a good night in terms of recognizing one of our police officers. On the 26th is the We Care Annual Breakfast, one of our great nonprofits in the community that's very hard. 26th is also the date of the Families Network Western Connecticut Luncheon. That'll be held at the Matrix. And on April 28th is an annual Ability Non-Disability Gala. That's done at the Amber Colonnade. It's a wonderful event also. That by no means is a list of all the events in the city this month, but it is a busy month, and I wanted to share them with you before we begin with the other parts of the agenda. With that, we'll go through and do the consent calendar. We'll do the minutes of the consent calendar, move up items 5 and 6, and then bounce back into the budget address with the indulgence of the calendar. So let's start with the minutes, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I'd like to make a motion on the reading of the minutes, as all members have copies, and copies are on file in the Legislative Assistance Office.
Motion made, seconded by Mr. Perkins. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the minutes as presented? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds on acceptance. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Majority Leader, may we have the consent calendar, please?
Certainly, Your Honor. Consent calendar, April 3rd, 2012. Number 8, receive the communication to confirm the appointments of Sandra Grassi, Republican, and Stella Edith, Republican, as well as confirm the reappointments of Carol Elder, Regina Alfiero, Renee Cali-Bain, K.T. Shasuni, and Patricia McCarthy to the Lake Kenosha Commission with terms to expire May 1st, 2015. Number 12, receive the communication and approve the transfer of funds as requested by the Registrar of Voters Office. These funds totaling $15,139 will be used for the April 24th primary. Number 17, receive the communication and adopt a resolution that will allow the City of Danbury to accept an increase in funding from the Northwest Regional Workforce Investment Board. The existing funding of $36,000 will be increased by $5,000 and a total award of $41,000 with no city match required. Number 18, receive communication and adopt a resolution allowing the organization known as Alcoholics Anonymous, or AA, the opportunity to have use of the City of Danbury's homeless shelter for the purpose of providing meetings as outlined in the Memorandum of Understanding. There are no matching requirements for the funding. Number 19, receive the communication and adopt a resolution that will allow the City of Danbury to apply for and accept funding through the Connecticut State Library's 2013 Historic Documents Preservation Grant Program. The funding request will not exceed $6,500. Number 22, receive the report for the sanitary sewer extension for the Candleview Ridge area and take no action. Number 23, receive the reports and approve the sidewalk and hydrant easement, Lakeside Townhouses LLC. Number 24, receive the reports and approve the sidewalk easement at 27 to 29 Tamarack Avenue, Tax Assessor Lot number 110042 and 110043. Number 28, receive the report of the ad hoc committee and reject the request to purchase Broad Street partial. That serves the consent calendar for April 3rd, 2012.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. What's your pleasure, Council? Mr. Knapp?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion that the consent calendar be approved as presented.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Wetmore. Any discussion about the consent calendar? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds in acceptance. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed signify by saying nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. Mr. President, you have a motion.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion at this time that we move items number 5 and number 6 with regards to police appointments and police promotions to the top of the agenda.
Motion made, second by Mr. Sadi. Any discussion about moving those items to the top of the agenda? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries unanimously. Madam Clerk, item 5.
Communication, appointment to the police department. Dear council members, I hereby submit for your confirmation the appointment of the following individuals to the position of police officer. Mr. Eric Sipley of Southbury, Connecticut. Mr. Sipley is currently employed as a resident assistant at Western Connecticut State University, where he is also an undergraduate student majoring in justice and law administration. Mr. Sipley has also been a volunteer EMT for Southbury Ambulance Corps for the last 9 years. Mr. Sipley's current rank on the police officer eligibility list is number 15, and it is anticipated that he will attend the Connecticut Post Training Academy beginning April 5th, 2012.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, counsel? Mr. Colvin.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the communication and confirm the appointment of Mr. Eric Sipley to the position of police officer.
Second. Motion made, seconded by Mr. Seabury. Any discussion about Mr. Sipley? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, signify by saying nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Mr. Sipley. Heading off to the academy. Hey, boys. Madam Clerk.
Second nomination is Ms. Michelle Stabile of Bethel, Connecticut. Ms. Stabile currently holds the position of EMT with Danbury Ambulance and has served in this capacity for the last 5 years. Ms. Stabile attended the University of New Haven, where she completed coursework in criminal justice and crime scene investigation services. Ms. Stabile's current rank on the police officer eligibility list is number 16, and it is anticipated that she also will attend the Connecticut Post Training Academy beginning April 5th, 2012.
Good. What's your pleasure, counsel? Mr. Kohler again.
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the communication and confirm the appointment of Ms. Michelle Stabile to the position of police officer.
Second. Motion made and seconded by Mr. Gianese. Any discussion about Ms. Stabile? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds on the appointment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Michelle. And Madam Clerk.
Third is Ms. Christina Bonacar of Danbury, Connecticut. Ms. Bonacar holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Temple University and a master's degree in forensic science from the University of New Haven. Ms. Bonacar is currently working as a police service technician for the Meriden Police Department and is ranked number 17 on the police officer eligibility list. It is anticipated that she will attend the Connecticut Post Training Academy beginning April 5th, 2012.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, Mrs. Tyshaw?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion to receive the communication and confirm the appointment of Ms. Christina Bonacar to the position of police officer.
Second. Motion made, seconded by Mr. Perkins. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Taser, real good. Don't worry, they're going to help you out, these guys back there. Madam Clerk, item 6, please.
Communication, promotions for the police department. Dear council members, I hereby submit for your confirmation the appointment and promotion of the following accomplished members of the police department to the position of police sergeant. Detective Joseph A. LaRose III. Detective LaRose began his career with the Danbury Police Department on February 11, 1985, and was promoted to detective on April 4, 2006. He is also a certified ICE 287G Task Force officer. Throughout his career, Detective LaRose has received numerous letters of appreciation and commendation, including a Medal of Bravery for his involvement and response to a double homicide/suicide incident where officers were fired upon while assisting injured parties in August of 1989. And he also received the Medal of Bravery for his actions during his response to a domestic disturbance in progress involving an armed, violent male who was ultimately subdued and disarmed. Detective LaRose also received the Medal of Meritorious Service for his assistance and tireless efforts in a homicide investigation resulting in the arrest and indictment by a grand jury of 2 suspects in February of 2009.
Madam Clerk, what's your pleasure, counsel? Mr. Nero?
Thank you, Your Honor. It is my honor to make the motion to receive the communication and confirm the appointment and promotion of Detective Joseph A. LaRose III to the position of Police Sergeant.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion about Mr. LaRose's appointment as sergeant? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All those in favor of the appointment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. I know you have some of your family here, Joe. Who do you have here with you?
Nicolina, Donnie, Gigi, and my wife Pam in the back.
Promotions: Detective Vincent P. Danello. Detective Danello began his career on May 15, 2000, and was promoted to a detective in the Youth Bureau on April 3, 2008. Detective Danello also serves as a part-time evidence technician, a member of the department's SWAT team, Emergency Services Unit, and a leader of the Honor Guard Unit. Detective Danello has received numerous awards throughout his career, including the Exchange Club Officer of the Year and the Chief's Achievement Award in 2008 for his commitment and dedication to involving himself in a variety of fundraising activities benefiting the community. He also received the Exceptional Police Service Award for his professional response to a call resulting in the removal of drugs and an illegal handgun from the streets in August 2004. Additionally, he received a meritorious citation for securing information at the scene of a robbery homicide in December 2004 that resulted in the suspects being arrested on felony murder charges, as well as numerous larceny and robbery charges.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, counsel? Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to make a motion to receive the communication and confirm the appointment and promotion for Detective Vincent P. Daniel to the position of Police Sergeant.
Second. Motion made and seconded by Mr. Sinisi. Any discussion about Detective Daniel? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Vince, congratulations. Anybody you want to introduce? Vince?
Jennifer.
Madam Clerk.
Third is Police Officer Andrew Corrado. Officer Corrado began his career with the Danbury Police Department on May 5th of 2005. Officer Corrado has received several letters of appreciation and commendation, including the Exceptional Police Service Award for his actions ensuing that a wandering lost male was located quickly during frigid temperatures in December of 2006. Officer Corrado also serves as a part-time evidence technician and a field training officer.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, counsel? Mr. Wetmore.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make the motion to receive the communication and confirm the appointment and promotion of Police Officer Andrew Corrado to the position of Police Sergeant.
Second. Motion made and seconded by Mr. Cabo. Any discussion about Mr. Corrado's appointment? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Congratulations. We wish you the best. Anybody here you want to introduce us?
No, sir. My wife is home with our 4-year-old and 2-year-old.
No, thank you. Madam Clerk.
And the third is Police Officer Peter Department on July 18, 1988, and became a DARE program officer on January 27, 1995. Officer Tragney has participated in Special Olympics fundraising activities, was a member of the DPD recruiting team, and served as a VALE, Domestic Violence Officer. Officer Tragney also received many letters of appreciation and commendation, including the Medal of Bravery for his involvement and response to a double homicide-suicide incident where officers were fired upon while assisting injured parties on August 13, 1989.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you pleasure counsel? Mrs. Steischultz?
Thank you, Your Honor. Before I make the motion, I would like to thank Pete personally for his service to our city, to our country, and to our children. So with that being said, I would like to make a motion to receive the communication and confirm the appointment and promotion of Officer Pete Tragney to the position of Police Sergeant.
Seconded by Mr. Wetmore. Any discussion as it relates to Mr. Tragney? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mike?
We're good.
Congratulations, well earned, and appreciate all you did for our great city. Madam Clerk.
The last is Police Officer Augusto Javier Lowe. Officer Lowe began his career with the Danbury Police Department on May 24th of '96. He is a certified telecommunicator/dispatcher and has received several letters of appreciation and commendation, including the Medal of Meritorious Service for his assistance on June 29 of '98 in covering a vehicle that was pulled over containing suspects who had pointed a gun at a female. The suspect was a previous convicted felon. He also received the Medal of Bravery for his actions in 2003 for investigating a road rage incident and received a life-saving medal for his response and administration of first aid to a medical emergency, which was originally thought out to be a burglary call in March of 2005.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, counsel? Mrs. Stanley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion to receive the communication and confirm the appointment and promotion of Police Officer Augusto Javier Lowe to the position of police sergeant.
Seconded. Mr. Perkins was pretty quick on the draw there. Any discussion about Officer Lowe becoming a sergeant? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Congratulations, and you did a great job in the interview process. Look forward to working with you in the Danbury Police Department. Thank you for all you do. Anybody you want to introduce?
My wife Allison, my son Christopher, my mother Rosita, my daughter Alexander.
Thank you. All right, council, that was 8 appointments. That had to be a world record. But congratulations to all our appointees tonight. You guys, good luck in your new career. Our sergeants are the best in the business. We'll be there to help you through. And obviously, if your families and folks want to leave, they can. If you're interested in the budget, you're welcome to stay. It's up to you, too. So thank you for your help. It's up to the council. If you want to stay here, you can. If you want to sit down, you can do that. We have these other screens. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
No, they're busy. Thank you. Yeah. How you doing?
appreciate you being here tonight. Mr. President, members of the City Council, Madam Clerk, city officials, department directors, employees, and my fellow Danburyans. In accordance with my duties as mayor and those prescribed by the charter of the City of Danbury, I respectfully present the proposed budget and the comprehensive capital improvement plan for 2012-2013. As always, I want to take a moment to thank those individuals who have made this night possible. I also want to thank you, the members of our legislative body. You are the members of the City Council, and you have the responsibility to deliberate over this body of work. Our elected officials spend long hours, weekends, nights, working on this in a voluntary capacity, and it's very much appreciated, so thank you. In the coming month, they'll also spend time giving up their weekends, giving up their evenings, doing more than they typically do. So for their dedication, their commitment, we should all be thankful. Special thanks to go to our Director of Finance, David St. Hilaire, Assistant Director Dan Garrick, and of course the person who types all this stuff in and spends all the time keeping us all on track, Judy Barris, our budget specialist. We appreciate the work they've done, and they've created another award-winning document, so congratulations to you. You know, last year during my budget address, I presented several challenges that stressed our city in terms of long-term, unfunded, underfunded employment benefits to our city employees. So tonight I'm pleased to report to you that the contracts for our city employees that were adopted by you this spring will result in significant and unprecedented savings for our taxpayers in the coming years. So we made a tremendous impact on addressing the long-term financial stability of our city. And for that, I say thank you. And I also want to recognize and thank our unions for stepping up to the plate and helping us do that. However, in the short term, our budget still remains under intense pressure, basically from pension contributions as well as our retiree medical costs for our current employees and for our current retirees. So now that we've addressed the long-term post-employment costs that threaten the financial stability of our city, we've spent a lot of time this spring addressing the short-term challenges to funding our city government. Our goals this past year have been to derive efficiencies out of every area of our organization. To help us achieve that goal, we are in the process of installing a new core system of software that will upgrade our business functions. The core system is being rolled out as we speak today. In fact, training has already begun. And by implementing this new core system, we'll be able to reduce duplication of services, eventually limiting the amount of employees needed to run city operations. And we'll also begin to align the Board of Education functions and their practices with our policies and procedures in our finance department so that we might have a common platform to operate from. The initial 2012-2013 budget request from all of our departments totaled $230 million. That's an increase of $14.4 million from our current budget. After careful review and many hours of work, we've reduced the overall proposed increase from $14.4 million to $4.1 million, or just 1.9%. I can't emphasize how difficult it was to do this given today's economic conditions. City department spending is once again flat. And as I've said to many of our department heads, the challenge will be to make it through another very difficult year. We did this by creating greater efficiencies and by implementing all kinds of cost avoidance procedures. I'll give you a couple examples. We're going to continue to defer filling 65 positions, and 29 of those positions will remain unfunded in the 2012-2013 budget. Many positions that were once full-time have now been reduced to part-time, or we completely eliminated them. The Department of Finance budget team continues to meet regularly with all of our department heads to discuss targeted cost-saving opportunities. Another example is our Go Green initiative. We took 244 devices used for copiers, desktop printers, fax machines, and scanners, and we're going to replace all those with 60 multi-function devices. The objective here is to be able to implement a new document management system that will allow us to go paperless for most of our operations. Other cost-saving initiatives like an employee wellness program. We have a new vehicle use policy we're rolling out, and switching our phone system over to a VoIP system are ongoing. And I recognize that these are cost savings that are relatively modest. The reality is that they are part of the culture change that we have to bring and that we brought to City Hall. We want to encourage people to do more with less. It's a cliche, but it's no more true now than it's ever been. And we need to encourage people to reevaluate every aspect of what they do, why they do it, and to reward and encourage proactive approaches to our budget challenges. This year, we also use strategies to provide a more transparent and more direct budget, which reduces the use of one-shot sources of revenue. In years past, we programmed sales of land, city properties, as a source of revenue in the budget. In the 02, 012, 013 budget, there are no land sales or one-shot sources of revenue to help balance our numbers. In addition, this year as well as last, we've begun reducing our reliance on fund balance to help balance the budget. This year we are proposing a use of approximately $2.3 million out of our fund balance, down from $2.4 million in the 011-012 budget. Finally, we moved much of the expenses that have been traditionally paid for out of our borrowing into our city departments, and funding them as part of our general fund expenditures rather than funding them as a borrowing cost. So let me give you some examples. In public safety, as mentioned above, new equipment and vehicles have been programmed into the individual department budgets. Those vehicles include things like ongoing capital investments for air pack replacement system that we've been doing at the fire department, payments on new pumpers that we bought last year that you approved, and of course, other new equipment. In the 012-013 budget, we programmed new vehicles for the police department and a new ladder truck for the fire department. The cost for a ladder truck is over $1 million. That reflects a significant investment by the City of Public Safety, but it is one that we have to do to maintain our public safety system in the city. My administration continues to work with Chief Baker and Chief Harrell to migrate to a civilianized, centralized dispatch as a first step towards a regional dispatch. In fact, right now we've been in process of interviewing prospective vendors as we migrate towards that system. One of the biggest spending items that we have in our budget is our education system. It's the largest part of our spending plan each and every year. And while we've reined in spending on the operational dollars on the city side of the budget, and while I'm recommending, for example, the elimination of 29 positions and I've left 64 positions vacant on the city side of the budget, I'm proposing an increase to the education budget of $900,000 in direct aid and a reprogramming of approximately $600,000 of existing dollars to provide a $1.5 million increase to the education budget. In addition, under the Governor's proposed education reform package, the Board of Education will have available to them approximately $2 million of new money that must be dedicated to school improvement. Now, I'll say that with a caveat because those numbers are a moving target and will continue to be a moving target as we work through this process. So as we stand today, those numbers could change. But if you add it all up, it comes close to $2 million. I've been meeting extensively with Dr. Pascarello, Dr. Glass, and the Board of Education to work on a plan on how best to deploy the new money. And while there are still many questions about how we can spend it, where we can spend it, why we should spend it, the state, I believe, will accept our improvement plan once it's completely crafted. And I believe that after a careful analysis that I've conducted along with our legal department, that the money will allow us to address the growing achievement gap within the city in our school system. So my recommendation, in consultation with the superintendent and with individual members of the Board of Ed, is to use the new money to expand our all-day kindergarten program over the next several years as we begin adding space to our school system. The first phase of an all-day kindergarten could happen as early as next year, with the allocation of approximately $400,000 from the new state money, from the state of Connecticut, the Danbury Public Schools could offer more all-day kindergarten seats for our residents. They can continue to expand those all-day kindergarten seats over each successive year as space allows us to do that. All-day kindergarten is the #1 request that I've heard from parents and one of the top priorities of the district because of its impact on academic success. By phasing in all-day kindergarten over several years and by utilizing the new dollars that are available from the state of Connecticut, we'll be able to minimize the impact to our taxpayers and to take a tremendous leap at closing the achievement gap in the city of Danbury. It may seem kind of counterintuitive that I'm recommending an expansion of all-day kindergarten while at the same time the Board of Education will have to make some difficult decisions about programming. But I believe that it's critical to provide the best educational experience possible that we can for our children from grades K through 12 as part of the total student that we're trying to educate. All-day kindergarten is about much more than custodial care. It's about academic achievement, it's about academic success. And with the new dollars available, with a lot of hard work, all-day kindergarten could and will finally be a reality for all of Danbury's parents. And at the same time, we can take a giant leap at closing the achievement gap. And while I recognize the money I'm recommending does not meet all of the requests of the Board of Education, the proposed budget coupled with school improvement money from the state of Connecticut represents a significant increase in new funding. That's approximately $3.5 million. And of course, we stand ready to work closely with the Danbury Public School System, Dr. Pasquarella and his team, to navigate their way through the uncharted waters of the new education reform program. And of course, we'll support them as they apply for those dollars in any way that we possibly can throughout the year. As this council knows, and I want the residents to know, we're also providing a substantial amount of dollars for the schools that the public may not even be aware of. I'm going to give you a couple examples. This year, we're required to add $1.8 million into the pension fund to cover Board of Education employees that participate in our general employees' pension. That's $1.8 million that's not being used for textbooks, it's not being used for teachers, and it's not being used for equipment. On the capital side, we continue with upgrades to Danbury High School. This year we'll be replacing the windows, for all of you that remember. Last year we did all of the boilers. The total investment just in the boiler repair program that we embarked on last year is over $12 million. We've also programmed a new roof for Pembroke School, or a repair of the existing roof. We're not quite sure which way to go on this. That project alone is close to $1 million. And let's not forget the new Head Start building that we're constructing on Foster Street. Danbury is one of the few cities in the state of Connecticut that has made such a tremendous commitment to the Head Start program. We have also authorized the expenditure of money to begin the planning, the design, and the preparation for expansion of our schools consistent with the recommendations of the 2020 Task Force. And we did that earlier this year. All of these expenses are rarely considered when we think of the education spending and of the total economic package that we provide for the schools. Yet they impact our bottom line and are an important contribution for the taxpayers of this city as we seek to develop a school system that we're proud of. Under the sewer and water heading, over the last 2.5 years, we have not raised sewer and water rates. This year, I'm proposing a rate increase that I believe is modest, yet will help us pay for and plan for future capital upgrades that will be required, or might be required, by state and federal law. Creating a capital fund in both of our enterprise funds will help us should we have a failure of one of our sewer pumps, or an issue with our infrastructure of our water department. Right now, there's really no capital program for us to draw money from, and it becomes quite the scene as we try to pay for an emergency repair, or if we start planning for capital investments in those particular areas without a capital fund. So the money that we do collect on the new rates will be targeted and earmarked for capital improvement. As you will be aware later in this meeting, the EPA and DEEP are requiring 30 towns across the state to perform upgrades to reduce phosphorus to an unprecedented level. The cost of the capital investment to meet DEEP and EPA requirements could be catastrophic to our city and to our ratepayers. Folks, we're talking north of $40 million that they're requesting us to spend on that plan. Simply unsustainable on our rate structure. Needless to say, the city of Danbury will be actively opposing the new standards, not necessarily because of the money, although that's a big issue, but also because the science that's based on is faulty, and the impact of making those changes on phosphorus removal are absolutely nil. In addition to that, we'll continue even after the modest increase. I just want to point out, as the slide says, that Danbury will have the lowest water rates in the state and some of the lowest sewer rates in the state. That's an important marketable commodity for us as we market our city to companies and corporations across the state of Connecticut and across this country. We do have made some key budget assumptions that I want to point out to you. As I mentioned earlier, there's no one-shot sources of revenue in this budget. All revenue assumptions are based on current economic conditions. That means we have dialed down expectations from fees and services that we typically charge for. We're also assuming that the current proposed state budget and municipal aid will make it through the legislative process. Should the governor or the legislature cut our municipal aid as part of the final state budget negotiations, we may have to revisit our spending plan. This could mean reductions across the board that I'm sure will result in layoffs and reductions in services. So I just want to make it clear, the one place we're not going to go to if we receive further cuts in state aid will be to the taxpayers of this city. We will make up that difference ourselves. And I just want to point out to you one more time that many communities of comparable size and demographics receive far more dollars for education from the state of Connecticut. I want to give you a couple examples. While Danbury receives $23 million in state aid for education, the city of New Britain receives almost $75 million. Folks, that's the 8th largest city in the state. We're the 7th largest city in the state. The city of Bristol, which is a smaller city than Danbury, receives $41 million. Manchester, roughly $40 million as well. So we really have to spend time. It is incumbent upon us to lobby our state legislators, to lobby the governor's administration, to work as hard as they can to provide equity in the distribution of state education dollars. It is having a tremendous impact on our ability to budget. So, to implement our budget, I'm proposing an increase to our mill rate by 0.76 mils to 22.45. General fund expenditures, as I mentioned before, are increasing to just 1.9%. That is, again, a tremendous feat given the economic conditions that we face. That increase in spending is mostly driven by the increase in the education budget, fixed costs, and of course our pension contributions. And with the exception of education spending, the philosophy of this spending plan is to cut first, and then, and only then, look for revenue second. The cut we did, every single department will feel the impact of our cuts. Many difficult choices and sacrifices have been made and will continue to be made by all city departments in order to present a balanced plan of operations designed to continue essential municipal services. And make no mistake, our city departments will have a difficult time getting through the next fiscal year. But we also believe that if we were to make even greater cuts, it would be irresponsible and we could possibly jeopardize public safety. And so it's only after we completed all this work, that we've done all of our homework all winter and all spring, that we can ask for a greater contribution from our residents. And also, as you may recall, last month we agreed to delay the phase-in of the final leg of the state-mandated property reevaluation. We're also going to continue our tax freeze for our senior citizens that we implemented several years ago. In summary, the proposed spending plan for the 2012-2013 fiscal year will be challenging, and it will be difficult for our departments as well as for our residents. With the exception of recurring costs, departmental spending has remained flat. We're proposing leaving 29 positions vacant and deferring hiring of other positions as well. By not funding these positions, we are saving close to $2 million, and we are avoiding the possibility of layoffs in our city workforce. I am proposing a modest sewer and water rate to begin developing a capital fund for ongoing repairs and planning for future mandated upgrades. I am not proposing any new fees or any new surcharges. I am proposing a number of long-term cost avoidance measures that I believe are visionary and forward-thinking. A combined regional dispatch that will enhance safety and lower our expenses and our bottom line. Energy efficiency projects will continue for our schools and our public buildings so we can save on heating and cooling costs. We've implemented structural changes to our system of employee benefits that we've successfully negotiated. Now is the time to work on those contracts through. And tonight I ask for the council's cooperation as they deliberate over this plan. While today our finances are on firm financial footing, we must have the political courage to make the necessary structural changes to avoid the problems that other cities of similar size have faced. And all you need to do today is to look at the news and look at some of the tax hikes that other cities are rolling out. Bridgeport, 7%. The City of New London, 20%. Those are the kinds of bad financial decisions that we need to avoid. And that's why our work starts tonight, to ensure that that doesn't happen here. So ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you, I believe in this city. I believe in Danbury. I believe in our residents. I believe in our employees, our business community, and our faith-based community. We're blessed with so many incredible assets. We have a world-class hospital. We've got a tremendous university. We've got a great business community. We have a low unemployment rate, the lowest in the state of Connecticut. We have the lowest crime rate in the state of Connecticut. We just recently attained a AAA bond rating. We have a vibrant arts community, a quality of life that we all can be proud of. This current economic crisis will pass. And when it does, we're going to emerge as a leaner, wiser, and stronger community for it. So tonight I thank you for your attention, your passion, and your compassion for Danbury. I appreciate all you are and all that you want Danbury to be. May God bless America, and may God bless our great city. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate your indulgence. We'll move on with our meeting. Clerk, item 1, please.
Ordinance and resolution, an ordinance making appropriations for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2012 and ending June 30th, 2013, and a resolution levying the property tax for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2012 and ending June 30th, 2013.
What's your pleasure, council? Mr. President?
I'd like to refer item number 1 to a public hearing.
Seeing no objection, so ordered. Madam Clerk, item 2, please.
An ordinance appropriating $3 million for public improvements in the 2012-2013 capital budget and authorizing the issuance of $3 million bonds of the city to meet said appropriations and pending the issuance thereof, and making temporary borrowings for such purpose.
What's your pleasure, council? Now,
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer item 2 to a public hearing.
seeing no objection, so ordered. Madam Clerk, item 3, please.
Ordinance sewer rates as of July 1st, 2012.
Pleasure, council. Mr. Seaver.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer number 3 to a public hearing and vote.
Thank you. Seeing no objection, so ordered. Item 4, please.
Ordinance water rates as of July 1st, 2012.
Mr. Negusha.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer item number 4 to a public hearing.
Seeing no objection, so ordered. Items 5 and 6, we did earlier in the evening. So, item 7, please.
Communication Appointment IT Director. Dear City Council members, I am pleased to submit for your confirmation The appointment of Mr. Frank Gentile of Stamford, Connecticut, to serve as the IT manager for the city of Danbury. Mr. Gentile comes to the city of Danbury with extensive IT knowledge and leadership abilities. He has served as a Director of Information Technology for New Haven Public Schools since July 2004. Prior to this role, he has been promoted through the ranks and has held management and project leader roles within a variety of industries. Mr. Gentile is a graduate of Central Connecticut State University with a Master's of Science degree in Technology Management and holds a Bachelor of Science degree with a major in Computer Science and a minor in Business Management from Sacred Heart University. Mr. Gentile also placed #1 on the IT Manager Eligibility list. I am confident that Mr. Gentile will be a tremendous asset to the IT department and the city of Danbury. His extensive IT knowledge and management background will assist the city in the development of technological advancement and process that will ultimately provide more efficient and cost-effective services for our community. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, Mark D. Bowden, Mayor.
Madam Clerk, what's your pleasure, council? Mr. Curran.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to receive the communication and confirm the appointment of Mr. Frank Gentile as the IT manager for the city of Danbury.
Thank you, Mr. Curran, seconded by Mr. Seabury. Is there any discussion? Unfortunately, Mr. Gentile could not be here this evening as he's closing out his old job, but we certainly can entertain any questions from him. Mr. Burns.
Mr. Honor, I just had a question for clarification. It says #1 on the eligibility list. How many applicants were there in total? First question. And,
6.
6? Thank you. And is Mr. Gentile's background in programming by any chance? Would you know?
His background is primarily in municipal school IT management systems, which really has a very, he has some programming, but he spends a lot of time in infrastructure architecture and designing and setting up systems.
Thank you.
He currently serves as New Haven's IT director for the public school system. Any other discussion? Before we vote, I just want to, Shane, if you could just stand up for a second. I just want to publicly thank Shane Petrolis for really getting us over a difficult time over the last year. He's done a yeoman's job of keeping the plate spinning in terms of our IT department, of putting out the fires and then coming up with some ideas about other things that we should do. And so Shane, on behalf of the entire city, David, the whole team, we just want to thank you publicly for all you've done. And I know we'll see you around. So.
Communication, proposed land swap and driveway installation for Newtown Road.
Mr. Darcy.
Point of order.
Point of order, sorry.
We didn't vote on that last
Oh,
week.
you're right, we didn't. We had to applause, so I kind of felt like we had voted already. Okay, all those in favor, thank you, Mr. Levy, you're absolutely correct. All those in favor of the appointment of Mr. Gentile, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, any opposition? Motion passes unanimously. Thanks, Don. Thank you. Is that Mr. Curran there? That's impressive. All right, good deal. Now we go to item 9.
Communication, proposed land swap and driveway installation for Newtown Road.
What's your pleasure, council? Mr. Darcy.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to refer the matter to an ad hoc committee consisting of the Director of Public Works, the Director of Planning and Corporation Counsel.
Ad hoc committee shall consist of the following: Mr. Levy and the chair, Mr. Darcy and Mr. Nero. Madam Clerk, item 10, please.
Communication, prevention of housing blight, Code of Ordinances, Section 10-99 to 106, and Section 12-34.
Pleasure, council. Mr. Cowell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer this to an ad hoc with the Corporation Council, a representative from the union, and a representative from the mayor's office.
Ad hoc committee shall consist of the following: Mr. Cabo, Mr. Knapp, and Mr. Visconti. Madam Clerk, item 11, please.
Communication, ambulance fund capital equipment. To Honorable Mark Bowden from David St. Hilaire, Director of Finance. For the fiscal year 2012 through 2013 budget, the ambulance fund includes $127,000 for the purchase of 2 cardiac/defibrillator unit upgrades and the addition of 6 chest compression systems. Based on a recent quote, the city has an opportunity to save approximately $12,000 using the outright purchase option. However, the timeline for this deal ends on April 27, 2012, with a payment term that can be extended to July 1st. A commitment is required on or before April 27 to take advantage of this significant savings. I am requesting that the City Council approve the issuance of a purchase order in the current fiscal year for the capital equipment budgeted above. The City Council is respectfully requested to consider this item on their agenda. Please contact me should you require any additional information. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, Council? Mr. Skozavala.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to receive the communication and approve the issuance of a purchase order in the current fiscal year for the capital equipment.
Second. Thank you, Mr. Skozavala, seconded by Mr. Negashek. Any discussion? Start with Mr. Visconti.
Thank you, Your Honor. To Mr. Casavecchi, if I may, real quick.
Mr. Mann.
Matt, and you're going to purchase two of these. Where will they be located? In boxes or where?
Okay, just point of clarification, 2 cardiac defibrillator monitors, which will be housed in the paramedic level, paramedic staff, the ambulances. The 6 chest compression devices will also be housed on each ambulance, stationed on each ambulance, and one of the paramedic units.
Thank you.
Any other questions related to this? Mr. Levy.
Matt, is this an upgrade to the medical services provided to the public?
It is an upgrade. For many that have been following the guidelines, or perhaps some haven't been following the guidelines, CPR is really focusing now on compressions. In fact, they're using hands-only compressions. This is now the uptick for the professional grade, the rescuer portion of it. So what we see now is really favorable studies on devices performing CPR. They're much safer for the responders, and most importantly, they give spontaneous ability for compressions to return spontaneous circulation. It is the #1 factor as far as survivability goes. Once we get the heart pumping again, our cardiac catheterization team and our chilling teams, which basically we chill the person to 33 degrees, really improve our survivability rate substantially. There's been a number of studies out in Fort Lauderdale and New York City that we have looked at, and again, the thumper device is not new to EMS and pre-hospital care arena. What is new is the clinical studies and the whole notion about compressions and the importance of compressions. So in essence, it is a substantial public health issue that we see. Of course, heart attacks and cardiac death still remains the #1 killer in the United States. We think we can make a difference in this, and it's tied into our deliverables with the health network.
Thank you.
Any other discussion related to this? Seeing none now, try your minds. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimous. Item 12 was on consent. Item 13.
Communication, donation of a camera to the fire department. Mayor Boughton, members of the City Council, the fire department has received the following donation from Connecticut Lions Charities Incorporated for $10,090. This donation will be used to purchase a thermal imaging camera. Funds to be deposited to donation 6000.2010 account. I would ask that this generous donation be accepted at the April 2012 meeting of the City Council. The Lions Club took on the effort to raise the funds especially for this device. This donation will allow us to have one of these critical life-saving devices on each of our primary response vehicles. I want to note that the Lions, working with the Kiwanis, provided the department with our very first such device many years ago. The primary use for this device is in search and rescue operation and fire response. However, these cameras are used in many other applications in the fire service. These include searching for and finding hotspots in fire overhaul, thereby preventing unneeded damage. Other uses are finding overheated light ballasts before they create a fire incident, and finally, They can be used to locate injured and lost people in our forests and parks after nightfall. If you require any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me directly. Respectfully submitted, Jeff R. Harold, Fire Chief.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, council? Mr. Knapp.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before I make the motion, I just want to thank the Lions Club, not only for this program, but for other programs that they participate in within our city. I know, for instance, with Project Homeless Connect, they've been with us since day one, working very closely with our Project Homeless program. So it's a phenomenal organization, and they do great things for our community. With that being said, I would like to make a motion to receive the communication and accept a generous donation from the Connecticut Lions Charities Incorporated for $10,090 that will be used for the thermal imaging camera, and send the appropriate letter of thanks.
Second. Motion made, second by Mr. Levy. Any discussion? Mr. Levy?
I too, I recognize the President of the Lions, Mike Callis, in the audience. But if I may, there's a number of things, although we did the Homeless Connect, we also did it for Pitney Bowes recently. We had a screening, and these are not just reading an eye chart. These are pretty in-depth screenings that are done and are afforded to many people in the public, along with some of the eyeglasses that the Lions Club also supplies to school children. So we have many Lions, Wayne Shepherd, we have our Corporation Council as well, and many more people here that all contribute. Scott Leroy from the Health Department on this that as well. And the mayor has done his share in the Lions Club as well. So
the number one get for the membership, right? Major points for that contest.
The Lions have stepped up to the plate to run the golf tournament, the mayor's golf tournament, and we'll be turning that money over as well to needy causes within the city of Danbury. So it's one of the, in my eyes, which is very partisan, one of the premier clubs that we have, civic organizations in the city of Danbury, and we thank you very much, all the members, for stepping up to the plate, providing this unit, which was lost, I believe, in the New Street fire. So this is a replacement thermal imaging camera. So I too thank all the members that contributed.
Thank you, Warren.
Also, just want to make comments. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate your hard work. We really do.
One correction.
Yeah.
It's not the Connecticut Lions, it's the Danbury Lions.
Danbury Lions, you got it. Be a tail twister. Any other discussions related to this? Seeing none, I'll try your mind on accepting the donation. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 14, please.
Communication, lease of Bear Mountain Reservation Cottage. Dear Mayor Mountain City Council members, the lease for the Bear Mountain Cottage, located at 19 Bear Mountain Road, is up for renewal. The current leasing is Sean McCullough, has lived in the cottage for the past 6 years and is willing to sign a new 3-year lease. Mr. McCullough, who is also a lieutenant with the Danbury Police Department, has been an excellent tenant, and his presence is a definite influence on the safety of the reservation and all of the users of the park. The Conservation Commission also endorses Mr. McCullough as a tenant on the property. The value of the lease over the 3-year period is a value of $21,000, plus CPI increases over the period of the contract. I request that council approve the lease agreement as submitted by Corporation Counsel's Office. If you require any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Nicholas Kaplanis, Director of Recreation.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, council? Mr. Nexler.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion to receive the communication and recommend the lease of the cottage be extended for 3 years in accordance with the attached license.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Sadi. Any discussion? I just want to be clear, it's a license, not a lease. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll try your minds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So I just want to say thanks for keeping an eye on the property up there as well. It's like we do a lot of extras besides just paying the rent. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Let's move on, Madam Clerk, to item 15.
Communication, request for water, Arch Street.
Pleasure, council. Seabury?
Thank you, and I'd like to refer this to city engineer planning for reports, please.
Seeing no objection, is so ordered. Madam Clerk, item 18, please.
Resolution, Danbury wastewater treatment plant phosphorus discharge. Dear council members, I am asking you to ratify city efforts to challenge Federal Environmental Protection Agency and Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection to mandate a significant and costly upgrade of our wastewater treatment plant to drastically reduce phosphorus levels into the Still and Housatonic rivers. The attached resolution further explains what is occurring and what we need to do. Due to the exigencies of our circumstances and the timelines that we have been facing together with the risk of unbearable financial costs, certain preliminary steps have already been taken to engage a government relations professional and cooperate with other municipalities and officials to examine options to address and challenge these strict requirements. It is my intention and that of the officials of the Public Works Department and others to inform you of these steps and to obtain your authorization for us to combine with others, engage such professional assistance as may be required, and to work quickly to address these potential mandates in such ways as are most efficient and effective for Danbury. While we are optimistic that doing this will provide us with the best and perhaps only chance to overturn these requirements or to obtain reconsideration of them, we are also realistic that some, at least limited measures, will likely be required. We are simply attempting to avoid the most onerous demands of our systems and budgets. Therefore, please adopt the attached resolution so that we may continue those measures and actions that are ongoing to deal with this critical issue. I ask that you do not send this to a committee, as any time delay will harm our efforts at the present time. Do not hesitate to contact this office with any questions you may have. Sincerely, Mark D. Bowden, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, council? Mr. Levy.
Your Honor, I move to receive and ratify the communication and adopt the resolution.
Second. Motion made and seconded by Mr. Cabo. I think there were some discussions that we had, so people may have some questions. I'll try to answer them as fast as I can, most concisely, but it's a very technical topic, so if you really want to follow up, you might want to do that offline. Having said that, we'll work our way in, so we'll start with Mr. O'Connor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Realizing that whatever we spend on attorneys will be a small fraction of what our potential outlay would be if this program went through, do you have an estimate of what you think this might cost?
Yeah, we're splitting up the government relations work with, right now, I think there's probably 6 or 7 communities that are impacted to an extent. And so we're dividing up the cost of that amongst all 5 of us. Our assessment for that, ballparking it, is around $5,000 to be able to employ this person. She's already done a tremendous job so far. I can fill you in if you want to know what's happened so far on this issue, but it's worth every nickel because there's so much further argument that has to happen at the legislature, not just filing bills, but talking to each individual co-chair of each committee, trying to get them to understand what an onerous requirement this really is. I'll keep going. Go ahead, Mr. Perkins.
Thank you. Just something clarified in my head. Basically what we're saying is we don't necessarily believe the EPA and the Connecticut Department of Energy that making these improvements will actually drastically reduce the phosphorus outputs levels? Is that what?
Well, they'll reduce the phosphorus output levels. The problem is they won't do anything. That's the issue, right? What happened is that we initially had agreed that we would lower our output level to 0.05 mgs. And we run that about now, sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little bit lower. We treat that with chemicals, so we're able to get to that low phosphorus output. That discharge from the plant goes into the Limekiln Brook, then that goes into the Still River, and then ends up in the Lusitania. For us to go from 0.05 to the new regulation, which is 0.01, would require, depending on who you talk to, because the DEP is telling us, the DEP is saying, hey, we don't want you just fixing the phosphorus, we want you to rehab the whole plant. The price for that is $88 million. The price just to go and remove the phosphorus is around $40 million, give or take a couple of million here or there, depending on when you do this. Now the impact is the problem. If we were to get down to this standard, that would only impact 20% of the phosphorus that goes into the Lusitania. The balance of it, 80%, comes from some other sources. One is non-point discharge. That's fertilizer that people put on their lawns and stuff like that. In Brookfield and other communities, washes in, things like that. And then the other part of it comes from Massachusetts. So we could do all this work and spend all this money, let's assuming we hit mega millions. And it's not going to change one bit the amount of algae that grows in Lake Willamette. That's the tragedy, because the EPA doesn't use a cost-benefit analysis making these decisions. So what we're saying, and by the way, we quarrel with the science too, I just want to be clear. We don't, our experts, I know David Dave's here, are not so keen on the science. In fact, DEP's own studies, DEP's own studies, show that if we spent this money, we're not going to impact the water quality and any of these various waterways. But this is just one of those government gone wild runaway trains that we're trying to go back and explain that what you're asking us to do isn't really going to do anything, except spend a lot of money.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I understand that there seems to be a distinction between strict regulatory standards versus an actual impact by going from this 0.05 to 0.01. And with the issue of whether or not the science or the facts are accurate as it relates to an impact that would occur with Danbury and other towns were held to this standard, can you state whether we're going to take sort of a two-pronged approach, or eventually, one, to challenge the immediate orders and the immediate effort to force us and the other towns to go to this 0.01 standard, and then secondly, if these standards and regs are flawed, are we proceeding at the state level, maybe the federal level, to try to have new rulemaking put in place to adjust us so we don't have to go through this consistently, and then make those bodies, those regulatory bodies, whether it be DEEP or EPA, to promulgate rules after a public hearing process. So I know it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'll take the first part last. Right now, what we're waiting for is DEEP. They get the DEP are the same, they changed the name. So DEEP to issue their draft permit. We have had some, because I went up to the legislature a couple of weeks ago, and we tortured some of the committee chairs and other mayors, superintendent of public utilities, and so heavily involved in this. DEEP is backing off of, initially DEEP's response was, hey, it's not us, it's the EPA. The EPA is telling us to do this. We're just managing this process. They're now backing off a little bit. They've actually offered us an olive branch. We'll see how far it goes, and by giving us more time to make these changes. So once we get that draft permit, that'll tell us exactly what the standard will be. They've already told us in writing it's going to be 0.01. That's going to trigger a public, we're going to ask for a public hearing at that point. We're going to ask the residents to come down, because people need to understand to go from 0.01 to 0.05, which is only just, which is very small amount, is going to cost them, I don't know, maybe 70% increase in their rates for their sewer rates. So, we're going to get our businesses involved and everybody else involved and say this, it doesn't make any sense. So that's one strategy. The other strategy is putting pressure on our federal representatives. We're doing that. Look, there are other communities across the country that have sued the federal government and sued the EPA. Our coalition is talking about that as a last-ditch effort. Actually, in Massachusetts, they've had a pretty favorable ruling by the judge that sort of sided with the community and said, hey, can you guys sit down with the EPA and just sort of work this out? This is insane that you're requiring them to spend all this money. So there's a number of different ways we can do this. Right now, we're also working legislatively. There's a bill, the bill number 440, I think it is, where we inserted some language that requires a cost-benefit analysis, requires a review of the science, requires sort of a holding pattern. The other problem they've had is what they did to Meriden, for example, where Meriden went and spent $25 million on an upgrade of the plant. Then they come back and said, no, 0.05, that's no good. You got to get down to 0.01. So now they got to go back and do another $25 million. So those are the kinds of horror stories that you're hearing out there about this. And we're working all different angles. But this government relations person is important to us because she'll connect everybody together. And frankly, no one city or town has enough time to spend arranging conference calls, lobbying the legislators, putting testimony together, and going to Washington and meeting with the federal representatives. We'll do that when the time's appropriate, but it's really hard to get everybody together at once.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just for the record, who is the representative?
It's Murkowski and Betsy Gara, G-A-R-A. Murkowski's.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any other questions about this, Jeff? Sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. As we pursue this timeline that we're working on towards satisfying your needs, if we don't meet that timeline, what is our exposure? Do we get fined? They're obviously not shutting the plant down. So
they can come in and they can do a couple of things. Typically what they'll do is they'll issue a consent order, which has the power of law that you have to comply with. I'm going to tell you what happened in Cheshire. Cheshire tried to put a referendum through for I'm going to make up a number. Okay, Cheshire put together a referendum for, I think it was about 55, 60 million bucks. Well, the residents voted down a referendum, so we're not going to do it. So now what do you do? Well, what can happen is the federal government can order you through the court to make those upgrades and can assess, they have the power to assess the residents those fees to pay for those upgrades on their own. So we don't want to get into that with them. I mean, they can use fines as well, they can do a whole bunch of things. And look, if the cost benefit was such that there's a tremendous impact on the quality of water, it'd be one thing, but there's virtually no impact because most of your phosphorus comes from non-point sources. It doesn't come from sewer plants. It comes from fertilizer and a whole bunch of other uses that people put on their own. Sorry. So, anyways, that is, and the reason that there's a time in this here, the legislature adjourns May 5th, May 6th. We want to be able to get some of this legislation through, and then have to wait until next session. Once that gets going, once you get those draft permits, the clock starts ticking. And then you've got 4 years to come up to compliance, which means we'd be out in front of the voters asking for, I don't know, $50 million. And of course, they're going to vote it down because I wouldn't vote for it myself. And then we're going to have the federal government, come down and throw. So we want to get ahead of this and try to change that ship just a little bit. Give us more time. Let's let technology change a little bit, and we can make some of those numbers. Any other discussion? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, signify by saying nay. I have a motion that carries unanimously. Item 17 is on consent. Item 8. It's on consent. That would mean item 20.
Resolution 2012 Neighborhood Assistance Act.
Pleasure of the council. Special.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to refer this to a public hearing.
Seeing no objection, is so ordered. Madam Clerk, item 21.
Resolution, LoCIP 2012 application. On or about March 1st of each year, the city becomes eligible for a state LoCIP, which is Local Capital Improvements Program funding through the Office of Policy and Management. City Council approval is necessary in order to make application for use of these funds. The March 2012 entitlement to the City of Danbury is $543,365. Consistent with the city's capital improvement plan as recommended by the Planning Commission in February 2009, resolutions are attached to the following projects. Long Ridge Road Bridge Replacement, $350,000. Various local bridge repairs, $150,000. Spring Street sidewalks, $30,000. As other projects in the CIP are evaluated and move forward, resolutions will be submitted at future City Council meetings to request the use of unobligated LoCIP funds from the city's entitlement balance. The City Council is respectfully requested to consider these resolutions at its next meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. What's your pleasure, council? Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to make a motion to receive the communication and adopt a resolution to accept the 2012 LoCIP application and funding.
Second by Mr. Levy. You have a second, Mr. Levy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have a discussion. You have the floor, sir.
I guess if someone was to read this, they would think there's a difference between the amount of money in the communication versus the proposal for expenditures. But in fact, this is based on, as I remember, on a percentage of what we might possibly get. But these are the applications that we want to use.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Levy. Further discussion? Mr. Visconti, you hit the whole lot here, so you, Mr. Perkins, good. Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Items 22, 23. 24 and 25 was withdrawn. Madam Clerk, item 26.
Ad hoc report and ordinance. Water meters, Code of Ordinance, Section 21-44.
Pleasure, council. Mr. Curran?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to receive the report and refer to public hearing.
So no objection is so ordered. Madam Clerk, item 27, please. Mrs. Tyshaw, you have the floor. Mr. Taylor. 27.
Ad hoc report, Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Taylor, Mr. Cabo.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we waive the reading of the minutes on the ad hoc report and maturity works. Item number 27, as all members have copies. The copies are on file in the City Assistant's office.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor of waiving the reading of the report, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Madam Clerk, 27.
Ad hoc report, maturity works, no-cost senior work program.
Pleasure, council. Chad.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would like to receive the report of the ad hoc committee and approve the recommendation to have the city of Danbury enter into an agreement with Maturity Works and the no-cost senior work program.
Made and seconded by Mrs. Stanley. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Neal.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was actually on this ad hoc, and as I walked out of the meeting that night, I'm walking down the hall thinking, why didn't we need an agreement? So if someone that was, I believe the lady's last name is Rigedo, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but if someone spoke with her from the city, knows why we actually need a formal agreement, would they be able to just mention why?
Mr. Leroy, would you like to take a stab at that?
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. Just so you know, because I wasn't at the meeting as well, she contacted me about finding places to find employment for individuals who were looking for work in their program. I said, especially after listening to the reports today, that the word worker that can help me and out on the Cincinnati payroll is a great idea. So I sent it to personnel, and I guess it was reviewed by the attorneys and personnel, and they requested that I submit it to you for review because it's a agreement that has to do with unions and other agreements as well. So it needed to be reviewed, and as far as the procedure, my procedure has been followed, and apparently some questions came up as to what happens if the person gets hurt while here. They cover the insurance, they cover the employment, and I guess from my standpoint, if somebody was going to send me to a work spot, I'd want to know that they had a commitment from the a lot of the details are covered. That's the best explanation I can.
And in this agreement, are we obligated in any way to do, once this agreement goes into effect, are we under any obligation to maintain this agreement with this agency? In other words, if you hire someone, let's just say they're working for you, and you say, well, you know, we're going to take this person for 6 months or 3 months or a year, we just say no. I mean, it's...
Yeah, well, from what I understand, I'm going to tell you right plainly, in the agreement, it actually allows us to pull out and not agree to employment. They do a review, and my idea is to take further, if they want to send away for employment, is to meet with Jenny and go through our review process of that same person. So we'll have a double employment review on somebody to make sure that they're a good candidate. And the agreement itself allows us to then say this person is not working and then to terminate the employment. So actually it helps out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any further discussions about this program? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, signify by saying nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. Item 28 is on consent. Mr. President, Department reports.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of the departmental reports, as all members have copies. The copies are on file in the legislative assistant's office.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Seabury. Discussion of the departmental reports. Mr. Rotella.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to extend my deep appreciation to both Chief Harold and Chief Baker and the men and women of the departments of the police and fire for their professional, courteous, sensitive, and courageous handling of a recent event that occurred in Danbury. On a crowded street in less than ideal weather conditions in the middle of the night. Our family is deeply, deeply appreciative, and please pass that along to people of your department. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rotella. Well said. Further discussion. Mr. Lasada.
Mr. Day still here?
Yes, he is.
To put to you, Mr. Day, a question that was raised in public speaking, in particular also happens to be in the fourth ward. Allegedly, two hydrants out that are next to each other on two different streets that also intersect with each other, Wildman and Chestnut. Is that true? And if that's true, is there an estimated time for repairing at least one of those so you don't have two side by side that are out?
Yeah, the Wildman Street is true, it is leaking, we have been aware of it. That's a multiple valve shutdown, which we've been investigating at night. And so it's one of those things we continue to investigate. Worst case, we may have to do an insertion valve, which is rather costly, but we will do that. And we are in constant contact with the fire department on these fire hydrants, if they have something that's urgent. But that is a case where, you know, some of our older valves in the older sections, they're not easy to shut down. So we're looking to get at it before, you know, some tragic happens, it gets hit or something like that, but we are actively working on it.
You said it's leaking. Does leaking mean it's not operable? Or it's leaking?
No, it's operable. It's there's a leak underground we've traced. It is operable. It could be used, but there is a leak, you know. So we know where it's coming from. It's a large main, it's 16 inches in size. And there's a lot of interconnections out there. I mean, when I say multiple valve shutdown, it could be anywhere from 10 to 20 valves. I mean, our crew was out there late Saturday night, I think it was late Friday night. They went out there for 4 hours. Nobody's out there just to turn valves and get a better assessment of what's going on.
Now, that's very helpful to know that it's operable, so you don't have two hydrants that are out, but that one is leaking. You're obviously looking into that, and then the other one on Wild, and not Wildman, on
The
Chestnut.
Wildman was the one I was looking at.
Chestnut.
The one on Chestnut, we had replaced one on Taylor Street. I'll have to look into the one on Taylor Street. The other thing, as far as hydrant spacing, typical hydrant spacing is 500 feet. About 5 years ago, we had an independent hydrant leak detection firm coming here. And one of their comments was interesting. They said, hey, Danbury, you may have too many fire hydrants. He said, you got a lot. I mean, so that's something that's interesting in that if you're really spaced close together, you may look at, and of course I had to talk to the fire chief before I started taking out fire hydrants. But the point is, you know, in some areas the hydrants are spaced close enough where if there is, you know, one out of service, it isn't a problem. If there's a couple out of service, and that's where our guys look at it, we don't want multiple hydrants and they're all out of service.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Any further discussions? Please, Mr. Cowell.
just would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Iadarola and his staff for the fantastic job they did on Saturday night with the fundraiser for Mackenzie Newsom. It was great to see your department pull together for that, Mr. Iadarola, and makes me very proud to be a resident of Danbury and be on the city council with you as our public works director. So thank you very much, and we appreciate it. Please extend our thanks to all your staff that participated in that great event.
Thank you, Your Honor. I also like to, thank Mr. Adirola, Mr. Hart, and, Mr. Hughes for, I see on various streets, litter patrols been out big time picking up litter. They've been sweeping the streets. The Germantown realignment project is moving along very rapidly. We've had good cooperation with the people on that job. I'd just like to extend my thanks and appreciation for what you do to make the city a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. Mr. Shanice.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just to follow up to your report earlier in the meeting, the capital expenditure report, how are we supposed to get presented a capital expenditure report?
In what document?
I thought it was a separate document that was presented to this council about the 15th of February.
The capital expenditure? It's in the budget document. I think it has to be adopted by the planning commission by the 15th, not by the city council. Double check that.
I thought it was in charge of that, presented to the council by the 15th. Then Councilman Reed presented that a few years ago. But he made thoughts and words for that, 15th of this council.
We'll check it out. Any other discussions? Mr. Hurt.
Thank you, Your Honor. Chief Baker, you don't have to come up yet. I'd just like to say thanks for the help that you did, you and your couple of officers with the parking condition that we had down in Rogers Park. It seems to be addressed for the most part. Follow-ups will be in order, I'm sure, down the road, but thank you. One more thing that the public speaker addressed, I mean, I'm looking here and I see the calls for service. I mean, it's lower year over year, but there must be less calls. I mean, we have to make that assumption.
I think if you recall the winter we had in February of 2011 versus the winter we had in 2012, that would account for the difference.
Okay. So you're saying the winter wasn't as bad, so you didn't need to come out, maybe traffic accidents and things like that?
Traffic accidents, stalled vehicles, parking, a lot of different things are affected by the weather.
Okay. And I also see that the traffic enforcement, it's up slightly over last year. Does that mean that the individual who was out, or those two officers were out, does that mean they're back? Because they were part of
that? Does not mean that at all, no, they're not back.
Okay. Oh, they're not, okay.
I think July. I think we returned to July.
Thank you. Follow up, not to you, Baker, Chief Baker, to the Director of Recreation.
Mr. Caplanis.
Mr. Caplanis, we've had a couple residents call us about some noise issues down in the park outside of the typical rules and regulations that folks have to apply by, no barbecues, no gambling, no littering, things like that. Are there any restrictions applied to people who rent out those ballparks?
We don't rent out the ballpark to anyone. I mean, if they're using it.
Sign out, I think is what you mean. They sign them out, they don't rent.
Okay, well, that's what I meant. They sign them out, but are there any other types of regulations that they need to follow?
Well, you mentioned what the permit covers as far as gambling, making sure they pick up after themselves, no barbecuing, no alcohol, etc.
Okay. So what about noise then? Because that's the basis of the complaints that we've been getting.
Well, you're talking going back to last summer now?
No, I'm talking this summer too. You can make as much noise as you want,
No,
basically?
no. I will be meeting with Chief Baker tomorrow morning. We're going to discuss some of the issues that have occurred in the park over the last year, and hopefully we'll be able to address all the concerns of the residents regarding noise and any other activities that go on down in the park.
Okay. I guess where I'm going with this is, if people sign out, it seems to me like they should be, held to a little bit more of a standard, because they're participating in events that draw in more people, so they should be required to do more than just the standard type rules.
I might be speaking a little bit out of turn here. I believe that for the most part, the people that have permission to use the fields follow all the rules. That doesn't necessarily take into consideration all the rest of the residents and other people that are down at the park at those activities as it relates to noise, which seems to be your biggest issue. So again, we'll be discussing possible means of enforcement, trying to reduce the level of noise and the complaints that occur down at the park.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Other comments, questions under department reports? Seeing none, then I'll try your minds and acceptance of reports. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition, motion carries unanimously. I have a couple of announcements very quickly before we adjourn. First one is some of the members of the council have inquired about the status of the 13 acres of sales, was approved last month. At this point, the prospective purchaser has not met the established deadline by the City Council of April 1st. So tomorrow morning, we will be placing that property out for a public bid. We do have strong interest prior to the bid, but rather than bring somebody else in here, we thought it would be more appropriate to do a public bid process, and then I think that's April 25th. So if you know anybody out there wants to buy 13 beautiful acres, please encourage them to come in. But we do have one prospective buyer already as a backup offer. But we're going to encourage them to go through the bidding process so that all folks can get a level playing field in terms of bringing it in. And as soon as we have the prospective buyer, we'll notify you guys and have it in front of the council again for consideration. And the second issue is a lot of questions came up about phosphorus tonight. I'm by no means an expert on all things phosphorus. If you want more information, we spent about $300,000 doing a complete analysis of our waste treatment plant as it relates to phosphorus. And Mr. David Day will be happy to sit down with you and kind of walk you through the ABCs of where we're at. But if you got more than one people that want to know about it, try to pool up as a team so we only have to do it once. And if you have real strong interest, I can bring in a consultant that can do his PowerPoint. But I'm telling you, it's going to be torturous. So, your choice, but I just want to let you know we're not trying to give you as much information as you want. If you need more, I encourage you to go to the website. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, let me give you my budget committees. Here we go, budget committees. General Government 1. Mr. Seabury will be in the chair. Mr. Cabo, Mr. Taylor, Mr. Sadi, Mr. Perkins. General Government 2. Mrs. Teichholz will be in the chair. Mr. Negushet, Mr. Cabo, Mr. Darcy, and Mr. Nero. Public Works, and you're encouraged to give Antonio as hard a time as possible. That'll be Mr. Knapp in the chair, Mr. Curran, Mr. Hallis, Mr. Levy, and Mr. Shinisi. That's Public Works. I go too fast for me. Health, Housing, Public Safety Center. They'll have Mr. Curran in the chair, Mr. Knapp, Mr. Cola, Mr. Wetmore, and Mr. Rotello. The Education Committee, I've just reiterated that we've established that prior to this meeting. But that is Mrs. Stanley in the chair, Mr. Seabury, Mr. Haddad, Mr. Scazzafado, and Mr. Visconti. Everybody got that? Great. Budget workshop will be Monday night with Watt. And what time is it scheduled? 6 p.m. Think about an hour on air, so max. Okay. Thank you. I extend all committees. chair for you up there. That's on the table, let's adjourn. Seconded, all in favor?
Hi, I'm Sergeant Rory Duraco with the Danbury Police Department. We're asking you to please refrain from using your handheld electronic device while operating your motor vehicle. This has caused citizens property damage, personal injury, and loss of life. So please, when you're operating your motor vehicle, keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, not on your phone. Thank you.